Now, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, chair of the House Judiciary Committee, author of Do What You Said You Would Do, Fighting for Freedom in the Swamp. Chairman Jordan, you are the main newsworthy item. We appreciate your coming on this show, by the way, very much. We are most grateful.
Good to be with you.
And, of course, and let me ask you, sir, first up, did you get any justice from Christopher Wray? Did you get anything that you can get your hands around?
Well, I think the big takeaway from today's hearing is what the FBI is doing with Americans' private data. I mean, there was a question asked of Director Wray by a Democrat, and he said, are you purchasing data from Americans through a broker, private information? Is the FBI buying that? And Director Wray said, I'll have to get back with you and give you an answer. I need to give you a briefing on how that works. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then you couple it with what we brought forward, which is an email from the FBI to Bank of America, where the FBI asked Bank of America to provide customer debit and credit card activity in a certain geographic location for a specified time period, January 5th and 6th, 2021, here in the D.C. area, and then overlaid that with any purchase from these same customers you have that you can give to the government, to the FBI, related to purchasing firearms or firearms-related material. That is pretty frightening stuff. So to me, that was the big takeaway. This FBI, the same FBI, Larry, that was involved in targeting parents as terrorists at school board meetings, the same FBI that had the Richmond field office do the memorandum that said Catholics are extremists if you're pro-life, the same FBI that was censured, but that was found to be censuring Americans by a federal court last week, that decision in the Western District of Louisiana, that's the FBI who's also grabbing up private data. That's pretty chilling, and that's I think that was kind of the key takeaway for us today.
Under what statute, or I don't know, what guise...
Good question.
...did Christopher Wray, FBI Director Christopher Wray, say he's using for this private information and this data stealing and the invasions? You know, I guess a Catholic, let me get this right. Speaking as a Catholic Latin Mass is somehow subverting American democracy?
You're radical.
Yeah, I guess
You're radical, yeah.
I guess so, although I don't speak Latin, but I have attended once in a while. I mean, Jim Jordan, what does Wray say about this stuff?
Well, he all he would say is we abide by the law. He wouldn't cite what authority he had. But what's interesting is because we've done just tons of depositions and transcribed interviews of people in the Justice Department, we've had agents come in and tell us they took that material, they didn't use it, they pulled it back from their system, they didn't send those leads out because they were concerned about this information that Bank of America turned over to the FBI. But all this just underscores our main thrust of the hearing for Republicans, which is there is no way that we are going to reauthorize Section 702 of FISA in its current form. That's where they illegally queried this database and got information on Americans. Again, without a warrant, they went and did this in an illegal fashion 204,000 times, according to press reports in the New York Times.
All right, let me turn to the Biden scandals, or the Biden alleged scandals. Let me just play some tape from your colleague, if you will, Representative Tom Tiffany from Wisconsin. Take a listen, please.
Did Joe Biden take payments from Burisma or any other foreign companies as vice president, president, or private citizen Biden?
As you may know, there is an ongoing investigation being led by the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, Mr. Weiss.
So the president is under investigation.
I'm not going to confirm or speak to who is or isn't under investigation for what. I'm simply going to tell you.
So he's not under investigation?
I didn't say that either.
Wow. I mean, that's just dog chasing tail. First of all, Chairman Jordan, what investigation is Wray talking about? Is he talking about investigating the LLCs and the suspicious bank deposits? Is he talking about investigating the influence peddling with Hunter Biden's dad, Joe Biden, next to him, putting the heat on Chinese communist investor? Or is he talking about investigating the Burisma scandal, where it was pay for play, again, alleged, and where there's 17 tapes, 2 with Joe Biden and 15 with Hunter? In other words, what investigation is he talking about?
I guess the short answer is I don't know. I assume, though, he's referring to the Hunter Biden investigation, and that is still, quote, ongoing until Hunter Biden actually appears in court and the plea agreement is agreed to by the judge. So that's supposed to happen later this month. So I assume that's what he's referencing. But that's an answer you typically get from the director of the FBI. It's always some ongoing, there's always some reason why he can't tell us what not only the Congress wants to know, the Judiciary Committee wants to know, but I think what the American people want to know. I mean, there are a number of things. We said, can you tell us the 5 people who put together that memorandum attacking Catholics and calling pro-life Catholics radical and extremists? Can you tell us who? Can't do that. We got an internal investigation going on. Can you tell us the names? And they can't tell you that. Can you tell us any? There's so many questions that we asked that he wouldn't give us an answer to. This is just one more of those. Those examples.
Well, did anybody ask him why the FBI denied, then blocked, then slow-walked the 1023 report forms that, in fact, talk about the Burisma scandal and talk about the influence peddling? I mean, every step of the way, the FBI has tried to block this. It looks like they're protecting the Bidens. He says they're not. But did anybody bring that up? And what does he say about that?
We brought up a host of other things. We brought that up in other discussions with the director. Remember that history there, Larry, was first he wouldn't even confirm that document, that 1023 document from this confidential human source existed. Then he said, oh, yeah, it does exist, but you can't see it. Then he said, OK, we'll let you see it, but only the chairman and the ranking member of the Oversight Committee. Oh, well, then he went to, well, let the full committee see it. We want the country to see it. We want everyone to be able to see this information and evaluate it for themselves. And can you imagine the push if any of this kind of stuff was going on with the Trump administration, the push there would be to make that information public. But no, they get to say we're going to only show it to the committee in a classified setting, which makes no sense to us.
So you want to reduce his appropriations. And in fact, if I understand it, you're thinking about having his headquarters go down to their FBI's Huntsville, Alabama campus, so they get him out of the D.C. swamp and maybe reform the FBI. Did that come up in the hearing? Did you ask Wray if he was ready to do that?
Well, it came up from the Democrats who are pushing back against it. But remember, they want a new headquarters and they want money for this new headquarters and for it to be built somewhere here in the D.C. area. We had staff go to the facility in Huntsville. They already consider that a second headquarters. 20 of the 30 divisions in the FBI are already located there in Huntsville. There's all kinds of space. So maybe it would help the Congress, help the country if, in fact, they were operating out of Huntsville. That's why we suggested that as a possibility. And
did anyone ask him, there's another story here. The FBI was working with the Ukrainian Secret Service, okay, which is completely infiltrated by Russian, agents and moles. I don't know what they're doing there with that information. Did anyone ask them about that?
Oh, yeah, we had members ask about that because we just put out a report on that. Our FBI getting information from a foreign intelligence, from Ukrainian intelligence, and then just simply passing that information on to big tech and say, you may want to take down this post, this website, whatever, and not evaluate. In fact, they referenced an official site from our State Department. Our State Department had a Russian language site that they were using. They referenced that to be taken down. So you had our FBI suggesting to big tech to take down something that the State Department had put out. Go figure. I mean, that just seems to me incompetence, but also just a reflection of how big this censorship effort was and why that decision from the court in the Western District of Louisiana last week on July 4th was so important, talking about how the FBI and these other agencies have been pressuring private sector people to censor Americans and, in effect, being the censors themselves is what the judge said. I mean, you've talked about this a lot, and we've followed your lead. I mean, the politicalization, or let me say the politicization of the Justice Department, but also the politicization of the FBI. Under Comey, yes, but under Christopher Wray also. It's very clear it's totally politicized. Did you yourself, you've talked about this, that's how you've labeled these hearings, weaponization, politicization. I mean, did you confront him with that? And did he have a response to you? I laid that out in the opening statement that, the same agency that's been involved in all these attacks on parents, attacks on Catholics, a censorship of Americans, raiding a president home 91 days before the midterm election, all this pattern that's happened with this agency. And then for them to say, We want a new headquarters. We want those same taxpayers who we've censored, who we've labeled and called terrorists and extreme Catholics. We want those same people to pay for it. And also, we want you to reauthorize, and this is in his opening statement, we want you to reauthorize FISA in its current form. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. There is no way we're going to be for that. That FISA reauthorization is due at the end of this calendar year. We are working to make dramatic changes to that to protect Americans' privacy rights and all their liberties.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, just to sort of wrap this up, Christopher Wray, I think, has to go. I mean, I think the top layers of the FBI main headquarters has to go. That's why I kind of like your Huntsville, Alabama thing, get him out of the swamp. But, you know, do you think anything's going to change here? Or does he just keep bobbing and weaving? I mean, I still, you know, Chairman Jim Jordan, old friend, I mean, I think the Biden scandals, they're alleged, but I think the evidence is growing on this. The pay for play, the Burisma potential bribery stuff. The FBI is right in the middle of that, right in the smack in the middle of that. And it just seems like they're trying to protect Biden any way they can. And that culture's got to be changed. But the personnel have to be changed also, Jim Jordan.
Right. And what we can do now, and this is what we're focused on, is use the appropriations process to make the changes, limit how American tax dollars can be spent at these agencies so that they're not weaponized against we the people, not reauthorize FISA in its current form. But in the end, the only way this changes is when you have a new commander-in-chief, you have a new president. And you were talking about all the great things that happened in the Reagan economy. I'm for President Trump. And I would just say this, all those things you referenced in your opening, which were great, Larry, they also happened when you were working in the Trump administration under President Trump. We had a roaring economy because we cut taxes, we reduced regulations, and things were just humming along. That's what we got to get back to. And, oh, by the way, if President Trump is in the White House, I think then you get the personnel in place to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Yes, sir. I'll just say that. Yes, sir. Cut taxes and clean the swamp. How's that? We can just generalize that whole story.
Sounds good.
Anyway,
you can run on that. Yeah, you can run on that.
Chairman Jim Jordan, thank you for your service. Thank you for the hearings today. And thank you for helping us on the show. We appreciate it, as always.